Conference. Recent political events could hardly have been more staggering. Our friends in Scotland have turned support for independence from the reported 29% to an amazing 45%. With the popular campaign overwhelmingly in favour of independence and showing good humour, a creativity and enthusiasm that shamed the miserable complaining no side. Cynical Labour showed its true colours: red, white and deep, deep blue. And we can see clearly now that the referendum, though lost, was just one step in the march of the Scottish people towards their freedom. The SNP are seizing the future, whilst Labour, those red Tories, mourn their past and wither away, and deservedly so. As we salute the Yes campaign, and in particular Alex Salmond, the SNP, and the new First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, so we in Plaid must apply the lessons of the Scottish campaign. Throw off Labour's smothering embrace by mobilising and empowering the people, counter cynicism with the truth, intensify our work from door to door, and break the broadcasters' monopoly. Cut out the grey middlemen in the studios, edit out the editors, talk directly to our own people, because Conference, we literally speak their languages. I had to say that to you. I'm still stunned by the democratic earthquake that hit Scotland, and I'm seized with the excitement about what it could do for Wales, if we grasp the opportunity, and grasp it we must. The issues for Labour and the Tories are clear: Europe, health and wealth, and for Europe, read stealing UKIP's clothes. But for us in Wales, it's a little different, because poor health and our lack of wealth are, of course, devolved. We'll see Cameron and Miliband slug it out on health in this country, when really they mean that country over there. Never talking about Wales unless it's to score points. Labour's health record in Wales is a disgrace. The Tories attack Wales. Attack Wales, he will note, not attack the Labour government in Wales. Owen Smith, Labour's self-proclaimed proud unionist, that's what he calls himself, is happy to threaten us with the English Tory bookie bore, crying foul when it suits him, when the Tories say thousands of Welsh people are travelling to England for treatment. The Conference, they're both right. The Tories are exploiting Welsh people's suffering, and Labour's Welsh NHS is sagging. But there is another scandal that Labour and the Tories won't talk about. Welsh people have always had to travel to England for treatment, always, because we can do no other. Travel or do without, that's the choice for us. That truth doesn't suit them, but it does suit them to attack Plaid's policies. Integrate health and social care, oh, what a good idea, but postpone. Attacks on sugary drinks, with parents, eminent health experts, and just sheer good common sense on our side. And then use the money to hire 1,000 doctors. Labour sneer, it's a pop tax, a sin tax. Too specific, they say. And then they plan a new tobacco tax, a sin tax. And they'd use the money specifically to fund quicker cancer tests. Well, what about then our plan for the living wage? A decent living for 266,000 Welsh workers and their children. Miliband, however, trumpets Labour's minimum wage. £8 an hour, all of £8 an hour, and that's by 2020. That's their minimum wage pledge. Now, the Commission on Social Mobility has shown that that's a worse rate of increase than that between 1999 and 2014. That's what they're promising, a worse rate of increase. But by now, Labour's machine is stuck firmly on the spin cycle. £8 by 2020, don't hold your breath. Now, since 2010, I have held surgeries in Talasarn, Llanllyfni, Penygroes, Groeslon, Llandwrog, Waun Fawr, Caernarfon, Maes Barker, Maes Incla, Llanrug, Llanberis, Bethel, Deiniolen, Rhiwlas, y Felin Heli, Bangor, Penosgarnedd, Coed Mawr, Hirel, Mesgyrchan, Llandygair, Achub, Bethesda, Gerlan, and lastly, the wonderfully named Abergwyn Gregin, the river mouth with the white shells. Isn't that wonderful, Abergwyn Gregin? But really, this is just a message for Miliband. If you really care about something, you don't forget about it in your conference speech. So, let's talk about something that really worries him. More than low wages, more than child poverty, more than benefits, more than pensions, inequality and war. Yes, of course, it's Europe, immigration and UKIP. But first, on the war. When we voted against airstrikes in Iraq, a local Labour councillor tweeted, I'll translate this in a moment. This local Labour councillor tweeted, Does dim synwyr yng ngeiriau Hywel, fel arfer, cytuno fo 90% o MPs eraill, byswn ni'n arwyddo roced. Airstrikes amdani. No sense in Hywel's words, as usual. I agree with 90% of other MPs. I'd sign the rocket. Airstrikes, he said. Airstrikes, said this Labour councillor. Airstrikes. Tally-ho. That's how far Labour have fallen. So, let's have a look at the European Union then. Read the newspapers, and you'd never think it, but Wales benefits from the Union, of course. Look around you at European projects throughout Wales, and look at social protection for our workers, forced on an unwilling Westminster by the European Union. We are one of the poorest parts of that union, and London is the very richest. Just think what it would be like if they got their hands again on regional spending. But yesterday and today, the papers are full of the 1.7 billion bill from the Commission, and the Tories react as if they'd only heard about it last week. Tell me, why are we paying these expensive experts in the Treasury and the Foreign Office? We have an UK Commissioner ourselves. Didn't she let on? Now, some say, of course they knew. But with defections and with threatened by-elections on the way, it just wasn't convenient to tell us the truth. Well, it looks as if they'll have to pay up. Because, of course, the Tories agreed to these rules 20 years ago, and Labour, as usual, in office, did nothing. Now, what about immigration? People have always moved to Wales from all over the world. And from within Wales as well, there's been movements. My grandfather amongst them, working down the pit in Tylerstown, singing with the Penderys. Who today, here or listening at home, would dream of telling the people of Tylerstown, you're not Welsh? And likewise, our new Welsh citizens who have moved to our great cities, to the west and to the coasts, students and teachers and researchers at our universities, caring for us in our hospitals. Gwynfor Evans said, anyone can be Welsh. Anyone can be Welsh as long as you're prepared to take the consequences. Dyn craff iawn. And I'm proud to say that taking the consequences as candidates next May are Liz Seville-Roberts for Dyfodol Meirionnydd and Mike Parker for Ceredigion. Both English by upbringing, both Plaid today, and both MPs next May. Along, of course, with Vaughan Williams in Llanelli, John Rowlands in Ynys Môn, and who knows who else. We're not short of talent, are we, as we have seen at this conference. I'd like to just also give my thanks to my colleagues in Westminster, the staff, the stupendous staff, the wonderful staff that we have in Westminster, but particularly to Jonathan Edwards, to Johnny, sitting over there. Johnny, who in a very short time has gained a fearsome reputation in Westminster, particularly, if I might say so, amongst Labour MPs. Diolch yn fawr iawn, Johnny, am dy waith. But most particularly, I want to give thanks and tribute to my leader in Westminster. There will be time to say this again, but I'll just say this for now. Thanks to him for his wisdom. Thanks to him for his good humour. Thanks to him for being such a great friend. Diolch yn fawr iawn I chdi, Elfyn. Now, there's plenty to do. Working for Wales, fighting for fair funding, strengthening our NHS, building a fairer economy with 50,000 new jobs and a living wage, fighting for equality, safeguarding diversity, of which just one very small example. Now, we don't tolerate prejudice and discrimination in our country, and we certainly won't tolerate beatings and, to be plain about it, plain lynchings just for being different. We won't tolerate that. But there is work for us to do. The petty-minded are still amongst us. A constituent complained to me, the talking buses announcements are in English only. I wrote to Arriva. Their answer, after a bit of flannel, was to say, have to be careful not to annoy our customers. That's what they said. As I said, we don't tolerate gross prejudice and discrimination, but the petty-minded are amongst us. Remember this conference, 60 years ago, on December the 1st, 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama, Rosa Parks refused to obey a bus driver's petty order that she give up her seat to a white passenger. Rosa Parks says in her autobiography, I didn't give up my seat because I was tired. The only tired I was tired of giving in. And her words reverberated around the world. So to end, inspired by Rosa Parks' words and the unnamed millions of people worldwide who have fought for justice, equality and liberty, neither will this party give in. Plaid Cymru, the Party of Wales, will not give in. We must be and we will be working for Wales. Diolch yn fawr.